Getting a lot of questions and I haven't answered them for a long time. And there is this question that I always thought to myself: what kind of city is Adventure Bay in Paw Patrol? Well, technically, it's not based on a real life town, but from what I can tell, is that the name Adventure Bay possibly references that it could likely be a seaside city somewhere in the US, which is probably not actually seen in real life. From what I can tell, it Adventure Bay is quite big, and from what I can obviously say about it, it's that it's basically based on Long Lake, which is somewhere in the state of Washington. That is obviously the biggest state and the biggest beach that I have ever seen. Well, only in a picture. Well, some theory may suggest that Adventure Bay itself could possibly be named after Miami Bay because the term bay is actually describing a harbor that is actually near the beach. So technically, judging by the look of this picture right here, it's that Adventure Bay itself is basically somewhere in the state of Washington, USA. It's unknown what the inspiration would truly be. So it is technically unknown whether or not Adventure Bay could be a real place, but it seemed that either of its location may be suggesting a theory that it could be somehow related with the Washington state. If I happen to take a noticeable guess, it could be possible that Adventure Bay could basically be inspired by the Long Lake Washington State Beach because the Washington State Beach is actually the biggest beach found in USA. So that means one possible thing. Adventure Bay could actually take place in the state of Washington DC, the biggest state in USA ever seen. Although Adventure Bay is never actually had to be mentioned as a real life state because it's only a fictional area where at some point TV animation actually reveals that some places used for TV shows are basically fictional places, and in live action movies they did use real life places. So that means Adventure Bay is just a fictional version of the Washington State Beach. From what I can tell, Adventure Bay is possibly a large state somewhere in USA because it's unknown whether or not it's proof that Washington State did base Adventure Bay on its beach due to the size and landmass it took. So, about the vehicles in Paw Patrol, the Paw Patrol vehicles could be based on real life vehicles that are a bit short. The fire truck of Marshall could be based on a 1970s era Mack Super Pumper truck, but shortened and had the cab roof removed. Rubble's vehicle is based on a Caterpillar bulldozer, which is kind of obvious because Rubble's bulldozer is based on a real life construction vehicle used in USA. Chase's vehicle is probably based on a Ford Explorer or a Ford Econoline police van, but it's never confirmed. Marshall and Rocky never really noticed anything of these references, and the truck used by Rocky could be based on a Peterbilt or somewhat a Mack or Scania garbage truck. Sky's helicopter, it could likely be based on a military chopper or somewhat of an unnamed model. Ryder's vehicle, on the other hand, is actually based on a true model, a Yamaha quad bike or four-wheeled ATV, which is particularly popular in the US and Japan. The Paw Patroller was originally based on a Scania R series truck, but unfortunately, it was destroyed in its original state. Its replacement was technically replaced by a new version of the Paw Patrol, which ironically resembles that of a modernized Scania truck, or basically a Mercedes truck that is used somewhere in Europe. What about the Rough Pack? Well, the Rough Pack basically drives motorcycles. They are heavily based on the Harley Davidson, because if you look closely at the side of the Rough Pack's motorcycle, you basically notice that the badge resembles a Harley Davidson logo. This may likely be the fact that Adventure Bay was somehow set in the Washington state, or Miami, I guess. So there goes my other theory. What other things did I not know about Paw Patrol? Well, the name itself, Paw Patrol, it's just a show about dogs and cats and the human working together to stop problems from happening. So I'm guessing that this is likely a running gag in the show where things always go wrong and the Paw Patrol has to save the day. Eh, it might seem annoying, but it's not actually that annoying. Thank you for watching. Make sure that you go comment, like, and sub.